Are we live? Are we live? Yes, we are. Hi, Soul Being. Absolutely beautiful every time. It's your host, Sweet Venus on my arts ship. Today we're on my arts ship, right? We're about bringing divine order within. It's about understanding the key to balancing your energy. So, right now, if you're feeling like life is not happening for you yet, right? You're always hearing like, oh, life is happening for you, life is happening for you. And you're like, yeah, but I mean, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, I'm doing the work, but I'm not seeing it. Like, how is this working for me, right? I have this message for you. Okay, so things are not working out the way you expected them to because you are creating your life from ego and not from your soul. And there's a different frequency of existence and of quality of life when you are creating from these two different states of being. So the ego that I'm talking about is the not self, the false self, the self that was conditioned into yourself, the self that you created to protect yourself from the world, the self you created in order to survive and belong. And but that self disconnected you from your most organic, authentic self, right? So when you're creating life from this state of being, from this state of consciousness, life will always be harder than it needs to. You're always gonna find yourself like something is missing, like you're depressed all the time, like no matter what, like it doesn't feel good, and you always have to like numb yourself. You have to do whatever you gotta do to disconnect from the present moment, to whether that is going into fantasy to compensate for what's lacking right now, or having these yucky relationships, right? So that you don't get to actually feel with this disconnect within yourself. And I know it's very uncomfortable situation to find yourself in when you realize like, yeah, I'm doing all this work to keep this false self alive. I'm doing all this work to keep this false self alive, to make this false self work. But what you really want to do is come to the to where this false self is originating from. You want to go and look at the roots, right? And I did a video recently. Let me check what that title is. It's called, yeah, why your relationships are holding you back, and also rewrite your love. The other video is rewrite your love blueprint and reclaim your divine power. I'll link them below this video. Those videos will help you really to reel in your energy back within to your God-given throne. I talk a lot about that because that is very essential for you to actually really know where you're meant to be existing within yourself, right? I can't tell you where that is. I can only guide you based on what I used to bring myself back to my center and what the framework I designed to do that. That's all I can do. But the framework is designed to help you to awaken to your truth from within yourself. I'm not showing you how to be me or how to be somebody else. I'm showing you how to be your most organic self, because that's where true fulfillment lies. It lies in being and not in doing. The doing that you want to be doing is the one that's coming from your beingness, not from your doingness, because that will create performance, that will create externalizing your energy and sourcing your power from outside of yourself. But we're going to go deeper into that. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reasons why life is not happening for you right now. So we're going to go into the first one, as we were talking about performance. So you're performing the work instead of receiving the benefits of the work, right? Let's think about this a little bit. So when you're performing your work instead of receiving the benefits of the work, and the work I'm talking about here is the inner work that you have been doing, right? You've been taking leadership in your own betterment, in your own development, in your own well-being, but you're just feeling like, man, it's not, I'm doing everything, but it's not doing anything, right? So you're just performing. You're performing to get results. Yes, 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 yes. We go to the gym so we can get results. But imagine if you're going to the gym all the time and you're just focused on getting the body. You're just focused on getting the body. Are you really gonna be enjoying the process of going to the gym? You're not gonna be, you're just gonna go to the gym to get your body, and once you get your body, you're not gonna go back into the gym. It's not gonna be a way of being and existing, because you just want to get the body. That's it. So you can go and do whatever you want to do. Maybe get the validation and attention so you can feel better about yourself, or maybe you believe your worth comes from just your weight. So you're like, oh, I'm not worthy right now, so I'm just gonna go and punish myself through workout, even if my body's telling me like, no, slow down, this doesn't feel good. I'm gonna push through because I have to get this body. So you're doing it at all means necessary. And this is not loving, right? It's conditional loving. It's not unconditional loving, which is what you truly, if you're really honest with yourself, you really want unconditional love. So really ask yourself, like, where am I performing the inner work instead of actually receiving the benefits of the work I'm doing? Like, am I receiving, like when I go to work out every single day, I love, yes, I'm taking care of my body. I enjoy being the person who takes care of their body. I enjoy being the person who's present and mindful with how my body feels as I challenge it into more of itself, into better version, as I sculpt my body, right? So when I'm more present with the change and the transformation and the work that's coming in right now, it becomes easier for me to hold this being my natural state of being. It becomes easier embodying this version of me who goes to the gym all the time, because I'm being present. I'm holding space for this transformation. I am not performing the transformation. I'm being the transformation. There's a difference in resonance. And this difference is the difference between somebody who goes to the gym and can't come back and gain all the weight, and somebody who maintains the weight, somebody who gradually becomes that version of them that always has a good figure, because they're so in tune with the transformation. They're like, okay, this food doesn't support my metabolism, so let me do this. Or this food doesn't nourish my body, so let me pivot to this. Or this food I'm just eating because I feel triggered. Well, let me go and do EFT. Let me go regulate my nervous system and then check in if I'm still hungry, right? There's a certain embodiment that comes at intention. It's conscious. It's like you're more grounded in your existence. You're not just being airy, right? So I would check into that. Let me know if you resonate with this one. So the second one is you're choosing, which is kind of tied to the performance one, right? You're choosing productivity over quality, right? So we live in this patriarchal society, and it's all about testosterone, right? It's about doing, right? And especially if you work for a very exploitative company, a very exploitative boss, people who are not conscious, people who just want to take. You do this out of survival because you want to get the check, right? But there's a point where you have to be emotionally sovereign and really respect yourself and value your energy and not sacrifice your well-being for other people. If you're a people pleaser, this is specifically for you. So when you're choosing productivity over quality of life, over quality of anything, right? If you're just doing so that you feel better, like, oh yeah, I achieved a goal today. Oh, I did 10 things today, so I'm successful, so I'm productive, so I feel good. This is what the old world, right? The old world that we're disintegrating from, right? It's the patriarchal system, right? That's why you see all this change, all this chaos happening, because it's energy that's moving, and we're moving to default to the divine feminine. So when you're just creating from doing so that you can get validated by this patriarchal system that doesn't even actually pour into your femininity, there's no quality of life, because you're disconnecting from your organic self. You're disconnecting from your ease and your divine flow and your divine embodiment. You can't even listen to your intuition because you're just keeping busy. Your mind is always busy. Your mind is always doing something. There's no breaks of stillness. There's no pauses. There's no sniffing, smelling the roses, the flowers, there's no feeling the wind on your skin. There's none of that. There's just doing. And it's easier to become so entangled in the matrix because you're not being really in tune with the quality of life you're creating from, the quality of life you're attracting towards yourself, right? So it's all about taking full responsibility for how you're choosing to do, right? In the beginning of this video, I believe I said you want to do from being, not doing from doing, right? So you want to do from being, because when you're being, you're very self-aware and you are more conscious of the state of being and the emotional state you're creating from, right? There's nothing wrong with negative emotions. There's something wrong with creating from separation. And when those emotions are motivating you to create from not having instead of creating from having, which and I'm talking about shifting from thinking linearly to thinking quantumly, right? If you don't resonate, or if you want to know more about this, I have a couple of videos about activating your quantum body. It goes deeper into that. I made a AI video for you. So knowing when to think linearly and when to think quantumly, it's a certain intelligence. It requires a certain intelligence, in energy intelligence, because certain things need you to think linearly and some things need you to think quantumly. Quantumly is mostly associated with divine feminine, and linearly is associated with divine masculine. These are just principles. I'm not talking about like biology. I'm talking about the principles, energy. So it's all about knowing how to balance your yin yang, your inhales and exhales. Being so in tune with your being, when you're doing, right? Those states of being and states of doing. Who are you? Who are you in those states? You really want to pay attention. Are you choosing productivity, like producing your life, producing results, or choosing to be very present and to be fully immersed in your human experience and understanding your needs, right? And loving yourself and giving yourself what you need, not from bypassing, not from pedestaling your ego, your wounded ego, but actually facing the truth of what's really going within. Even sitting with the uncomfortable questions, the uncomfortable conversations that you're being pointed towards to lean into, right? That you really don't want to watch and listen to. Because these are what will help you to really anchor into more quality of life. Quality of life, yeah, money helps, but it starts with your energy, because money is just going to amplify your energy. So you really want to do this foundational work so that when money comes in, baby, you're just like shining star and it's coming from grounded. Even if money wasn't there, you are money. You become money, right? Because it's energy. It's all about who you know, about what you do with what you know, what you do with your lessons, right? What you do with your patterns. It's a consciousness state. So it's not about doing, which is all external. It's all based on like external validation. It's about quality, which is internally resourced. So the third one is that you're delegating your internal validation, right? It ties into the previous one. So when you're delegating your internal validation, you're living for an external audience. You're living to prove a point. You're living and creating a life so that you can make your parents happy, so you can make other people happy, so that you can fit into this society, into this culture, into this group, right? There's always a motivation that's externally sourced. You're seeking your power from outside of you. And when you do that, you're always going to be entangled in and enmeshed in other people's agendas. Because everybody is self-motivated. Everybody has agenda. I have an agenda, right? Everybody has an agenda. But when you're not conscious of these agendas, even within yourself, it's easy for you to live from an illusion and create from an illusion. But when you're conscious and you're comfortable with your own agendas, and you create a safe space for your shadows, right? A lot of people, especially in the Christianity community, we blame the devil, we shame the devil, we say, oh, the devil, the devil. There's a lot of fear around the devil, right? Because it's a lot of not wanting to take responsibility for your own ish, right? We're always projecting everything to the devil. And this is why I created a video where I said the devil and God are within you. And I know it's very controversial, but that's the only way to get your attention. The devil and God are within you because it's energy. It's all happening within you, right? So when you're jealous of somebody, right, and you're sending negative energy, or even somebody who has a different belief system from you, you're being an advocate for the devil, right? When you're sending negative energy to anybody, even if they look different, even if they believe something different, you're being an agent of the devil. When you send love, and you imagine the best version of themselves, even if they are sleeping on the side of the road, they're homeless, and they're drugged up, and you take it your personal responsibility to hold that space for them in your mind, even if no one ever knows, you're being an agent of God. And also, it's also realizing that it's one of the same coin. It's the same coin, the devil and God. Because God, we could say, it's Mother Nature. Mother Nature can right this second, she can decide like, I'm done with Earth. I'm going to melt every continent here and just start all over again. She can do that, right? But if we were to base it on morality, it would be like, I thought God was meant to be all good, right? It's never like that. It's the same coin, right? So the wholeness is all about accepting the two faces of you, the good and the bad. Yes, you want to aim to be a better version of you, for you and for all of humanity and for others, because energy, we're all interconnected, we're all one. So whatever you do is going to affect somebody negatively. You want to go to that level, not just me, because there's no fulfillment in that. It's so toxic. It creates closed hearts, and people are just depressed, and then that's where you're popping pills where you don't really need to be popping pills, because what you need is love, is contact, is connection, it's presence, it's safe space within yourself, right? So it's not bypassing, it's not choosing the easier path. It's actually doing the work so you can hold love, so you don't alienate yourself from love. And it's not about, it's funny that I'm even saying that, holding love, because you are love. You're the embodiment of love. But when you're rejecting yourself and you hate yourself so much, you disconnect from love. And you disconnect from the reality that love is everything that you are, your voice, the way your hips move, the way your eyes open and shut, and the way the way you pronounce words, the way you allure. But if you're not in tune with your energy and you hate yourself, you're like, ew, it doesn't sound like this version, this like this, right? You're rejecting yourself, you're abandoning yourself for another person. Yes, other people have such an allure, right? Celebrities and whatnot, but that's the whole idea of a celebrity. They create a mystery of somebody who has aspects of yourself that you desire within yourself. It's just part of the illusion. But you have no awareness of that. You're going to continuously create a life where you're seeking and projecting all that lack of internal validation. So, number 4, you're projecting your insecurities and frustrations, right? So if I was to go back to the jealousy, right, I'll speak about this from a woman's standpoint. I don't know about men. But when you're projecting your insecurities and frustrations on a woman who looks sexy, who looks yummy, who's so free, who's just herself, and you're not, you want to be really, really aware, like, okay, what value is she triggering within me? Because it's always an internal thing. Right? Because everything that's happening outside of you, unless it's bringing harm to somebody else, it's neutral. People are just being who they're being within themselves, and it's never personal. So when I spoke in the previous video, I spoke about, or maybe it's the video that's coming up. I just recorded it, pre-recorded it a couple of minutes ago. Stop trying, start being. I spoke about being so enlightened with your inner world to the point where you're the safest safe space. So when other people come in as themselves, you're not internalizing it. You're not making it personal. You're just like, oh, interesting. I wonder what happened to you. I wonder what's really going on within. There's curiosity. There's less animosity. There's less creating negative energy. There's more inspiration. There's more self-awareness. There's more empowerment, because you're not sourcing that from outside of yourself. You are not projecting what's going on within yourself, right? You're being emotionally intelligent. You're not having, you're feeding negative loops within you and projecting and projecting it onto your kids, projecting it onto your lover, projecting it onto passerbys. You're becoming fully responsible for your energy, what you do with your energy, right? And a lot of us have been taught, we know we come from bloodlines where we're not very self-aware, we're not emotionally intelligent. And it's upon you, it's your responsibility. Yes, you were born into this bloodline. It's a shame that you weren't taught this, but we came here to learn and unlearn. I mean, that's the whole point of life, right? So instead of being a victim to it, ask yourself, like, what is the blessing of being here? Because there's a gift of transmuting, of transforming, not knowing to knowing. There's a certain embodiment that gives you, right? So you want to elevate to higher consciousness, not from this animalistic consciousness, like, oh, me, boom, it's happening to me. No, you'll be like, oh, okay, this happened to me, great. This wasn't great, actually. But I wonder how me transforming from this version is going to help me embody my dream self. And embody the version of me who's going to deliver my purpose with flying colors. I wonder how this is happening for me, right? You want to get to that level of thinking. So if you're not emotionally intelligent yet, well, welcome to Mental Alchemy Academy. This channel is going to help you with all of that, because I came from not knowing too. And it takes practice. It takes doing the uncomfortable work of taking responsibility for the two faces of your coin, right? The devil and God within. And creating a safe space, because they're both teaching you to come into your center. Because, listen, especially for the people pleasers, especially for the nice people, right? To be honest, if you're too nice, you can't be nice to a predator. You can't be nice to really mean people. Now, not mean people who are just having a bad day, but mean people who are just cruel. You can't be nice to takers, because they're going to take advantage of you. So you need that devil to hold space, to say, that's not going to go for it. People, are you going to be nice to a predator? No, they're going to eat you, right? So you got to know when to use that energy to your advantage. But it's not going to work to your advantage if you're like, oh no, I'm going to be good. I got to be like God-like. I got to be Christ-like. No, Mother Nature's not like that. Mother Nature, if she wants to erupt that volcano, she's going to do it, right? Because that's what she's going to do. So you really want to be in tune with these both sides, and to be uncomfortable, being uncomfortable, because that's where that wholeness comes from. That's where that full potential comes from. It doesn't come from rejecting all these parts that you're aware of and rejecting them because they don't align with what your society and your community is telling you should be the standard. Yes, we need a collective standard. We do. But right now, to be honest, it's really rock bottom, because it's based on shaming. It's based on guilting. It's being created from wanting to manipulate and control. So you always want to, I always talk on this channel that you always want to focus on the principles and values, the intentions and motivations behind anything, behind any leader. You want to ask, like, what is the motivation? What is the value they're creating from. You want to ask these questions so you can pay attention, because it's always energy. When you ask these questions, your consciousness dials in to really see the truth. Because when you're just feeding onto everything that you're being given, you're going to feed into the illusion. But you want to be grounded in truth, in reality, right? Not into what that image they're trying to portray, right? So it's the difference between like when you see like a guy who's flashy, who has it all that, but behind the scenes, he's in debt. He treats his mother awfully. He has like 10 ex-wives, right? He has babies in every location, you know, in every backyard, you know what I mean? So you want to go beyond what meets the eye and really, really go deep and lean in, like, being indifferent, being detached to that level, right? And being detached with your own emotions. Not from a, no, I'm not talking about being closed-hearted. That's a completely different thing. It's being detached to the point where you're not becoming your emotions. You're experiencing your emotions, but you're not becoming them. And by experiencing your emotions, you're gaining wisdom. Your emotions are communicating wisdom to you. But when you're resisting them, they can't do that. They can't help you transform in the most effortless way. Emotions are the ones that help you transform and know where to position yourself, as long as you listen to your soul. If you're listening to your wounded ego, no. You want to really sit in your God-given throne in your center and really listen, experience these emotions and let them rearrange what needs to be rearranged in your heart, so you know intuitively what to do from within you. So you know what to do and in your mind to position yourself differently. There's an intelligence in everything. But when you're choosing artificial intelligence, you're going to disconnect from this divine intelligence. Divine intelligence created AI, right? It's way bigger than all of us, right? That's why we have Atlantis. We've got it's all information that's coming back. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all recycled and evolving and changing, right? So the fifth one, the last one. So you have poor quality of doing. So, excuse me. So your quality of doing is very poor, which means that it's burning you out instead of fulfilling you, right? So you're putting your energy out there, but you're not actually pouring into you. That video that I mentioned about stop trying, start being, it helps you to really know how to pivot from burning out into fulfilling yourself. Because once you burn out, bro, like my burnout, it took me 3 years to come out of it. It's not worth it. It's not. So you really want to pay attention to that wound that's motivating you to give, to do what's not really in tune with your energy levels. That's not really in tune with your well-being, because that will make the biggest difference in the quality of life. You really want to pay attention to, like, am I creating from my parents' or society's expectations of me? Or am I doing it from my soul's expectations? Yes, it's a very selfish question, but it benefits everybody, because once you're fulfilled within yourself, you're whole, you're vibrant, you're radiant, and you're overflowing, you attract differently. You become wealthier for yourself and for your community and for your bloodline and for your family, right? It's a win-win. Those people who don't want you to do this is because they're projecting their own disconnection from themselves, and they don't want to be themselves. They don't want to make that choice by themselves. They're disempowered, and they want you to be disempowered too. So you want to have this level of discernment, like, oh yeah, that's not personal, whatever. They're just doing what they would do anyway, even if they saw me in a different body, in a different personality. It's just they're responding to the energy that you're choosing to lead your life from, right? So is your doing, does it fulfill you? So it's like, are you present when you're doing your stuff? Are you doing the things that you actually enjoy and love? Or are you doing the things that you were taught to do to get freedom? Because freedom is available for you no matter what. It's available for you no matter what. It's available right here, right now. But when you're creating freedom from the from separation, saying, oh, it's not, I'm only going to get freedom when I get X amount of money. I'm only going to get freedom when so and so happens, only if I talk to this person, only if I have this person in my network, only if I have rich, wealthy friends, only if I have a rich, wealthy husband or boyfriends or whatever, right? You're creating separation. You're a divine being, but if you're choosing your human over your divinity, you're always going to create separation. You're always going to be burning out and doing more, which is separating you from being divine, from sitting and creating from your God-given throne. So you want to really pay attention to that. Is it burning me out? Is it leading me to burnout? Or is it fulfilling me? And let me know if you're currently burnt out. Put it in the comment section and let me know, like, what are you really struggling with right now, so that I can create a video for you. Because yeah, I know that story all too well. But for people who are leading their lives towards burnout, like, really pay attention to this, right? So what is the solution? The solution. So you want to focus on dissolving emotional resistance to your most present authentic self, right? So you want to be very present with your authentic self, especially if you've been taught to abandon yourself. This is going to be really important work for you. So you want to focus on dissolving emotional resistance to your most authentic self with no judgment, no shame. Feel what you got to feel, see what you got to see right now. Right? So dissolve that resistance, that rejection. Hold space for that. It's going to be uncomfortable. I won't lie. But that discomfort is what's actually going to transform you. Right? It's energy work. It's alchemical work. It's that transformation that happens within. It's not going to be something you do from the outside to put on an illusion. Yeah, there's a time and place for that. But I'm talking about the internal work that's sustainable. And what will help you to be emotionally sovereign, right? So this is the foundation for emotional sovereignty. You really want to prioritize this so that you break out of this loop that you're finding yourself in. Once you start doing this, you won't feel as powerless. You stop being stagnant, right? Because stagnancy is also a mindset. It's how you perceive anything. So if you perceive yourself as, this is who I am in every present moment is wrong, that's what you're creating. Because you're always bringing your wrongness with you, no matter what car you're in, no matter who's around you, no matter what echelons you're in, whatever. Right? Who you are being is always going to be wrong until you change who you see in the mirror. Like, oh, why do I think I'm wrong? Oh, because as a child I was constantly made to be wrong. Right? Now you're starting somewhere. Now you're going to the root. Now you're like, oh, okay, I internalized this narrative because my parents were projecting, or my parents were having a bad day, or whatever that is. That's for you to really untangle yourself from emotionally. So once you start doing this, it allows you to collapse old timelines, old templates you're creating from unconsciously. Because we're always creating something from the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where we internalize stuff and we forget about it, and then we keep creating from it. So being an enlightened being is about bringing back your energy and light within yourself to pay attention and following the breadcrumbs, following the breadcrumbs and coming to the root and wondering, like, oh, what created this? Oh, this is where the source is coming from. Now it makes sense why I created these patterns in the past. Now it makes sense why I was creating from this state of being. Now it makes sense why life is harder, because I learned it from here. I learned about life from these people, and this is the state of being they're creating life from, right? So it becomes easier to be more graceful to yourself. It becomes easier to really master and understand yourself. There's something else I wanted to say. Oh, it'll come back. So you want to prioritize what expands and frees your soul from the confinement of your human's mind, right? So when you notice yourself like you're just thinking, and then it's closing you off, stop, pivot, right? You want to think of something different that actually expands and frees you right now. You want to think of a narrative that helps you to transmute that narrative you're feeding into so that you can actually free yourself, right? And most of those don't even come until you're actually moving. It doesn't come by being depressed on the couch, watching TV and numbing yourself and doing the things that actually take life and energy out of you. It comes from actually doing things that you actually enjoy, things that actually make you feel better, that pour into you. Because in choosing differently, in choosing what actually pours into you, you create inspiration within yourself to start thinking differently. You start attracting more videos like this that help you think differently. And you're like, oh, and then you start remembering, right? Divinity is never lost. You remember, right? So once you master all of this, you become emotionally sovereign. So it's all about the foundational work. It's all about this, right? Rewind this video and come back to where I spoke about dissolving emotional resistance, because that's the foundation. Once you master that, and then you collapse these old timelines, and then you prioritize what expands and frees your soul from the confinement of your mind, you just doing that, it will help you become emotionally sovereign, right? You become emotionally free. So you're not internalizing other people's emotional states. And when you do, you know what to do to transmute it, right? You know what is yours and what isn't. You know where the world ends within you and where you end within the world. Because now you're embodying the barrier between your inner world and external world, right? So a lot of people who are not emotionally sovereign, they are not this barrier. The inner world and external world, they're immersed, they're one and the same. They don't know how to separate from them. So you want to become the barrier. That's all about being the God-given throne, sitting in your God-given throne. It's picking and choosing what you're allowing in. Because your inner world is like your Garden of Eden, right? You're always cultivating it. You're always improving it. I always talk about inner relationships, which is the foundation of your wealth and prosperity. You always want to cultivate, like, okay, where am I leaving this conversation within myself? Because most conversations happen within you. Because it's energy. It has nothing to do with other people. It's about who you're choosing to be. What energy, standard of energy you're choosing to embody. So I hope this helps. And if you want to go deeper, I support you through this in Mental Alchemy Academy. I have right now a few spots for my one-on-ones. I'm offering soul marriage activations, which helps you support through your wholeness. If you want me to have a deeper look into your energy, I'll support you through that. I also have Soul Driven Radiance, which is all about pivoting from the false self to actually creating life from your true self, your organic self, right? So helping you to integrate all this time you feel like you wasted. We integrate it so you can actually get back your time and catch up to your dream self. And I help you to clarify what those values that you truly want, you're truly seeking. And we go into your subconscious mind, your conscious self, so we can unpack the wounds you've been creating your full self from, so that we can heal and collapse those timelines, and then we can actually now create space energetically for you to actually start embodying your dream self. Not trying and being your dream self, but actually being, right? It's all energy. Time is an illusion because you are time, but you won't realize that you are time when you're still thinking linearly. You got to come back into your beingness, connect to that divine feminine essence, and elevate your consciousness. Do this work so that you start thinking quantumly. It's a whole different life. It's a whole different pace. And Miracle Activator also helps you with that, especially if you want to activate miracles. Miracles just don't happen to you. You activate them. You embody them. There's a certain way of thinking, which is quantumly, which is knowing how to pivot from linear to quantum thinking, right? There's a different place and scenarios for thinking linearly and quantumly. So when you have intrusive thoughts coming in, you know, having that intelligence of like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Oh, okay, I'm being shown where to look within myself. Okay, now it's time to think quantumly. It's time to shift, right? This is how you actually start embodying your inner giant, your quantum body. It's a whole different ball game. And if you've ever wondered, like, how come people do so much, they achieve so much, how do they do that, and they do it so effortlessly? It's because they know how to do this. So you can find more information below, and if you have any questions, if anything really resonated with you, leave it in the comment section. I'm really curious. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and see you on the other side.